Hey there, I'm Kevin Downey, and I run an agency called Kevin M. Downey, where we help B2B companies with their sales and marketing efforts. You can visit our website at kevinmdowney.com. Okay, today's topic, I'm trying to move out of the way so you can see the bullets. How to find a remote job in sales and business or business development. So we don't provide services, obviously, for the consumer or the job seeker, but we work with businesses, companies, obviously. But I like to help when I can, give you some advice as the job seeker. So if you're looking for a remote job, join the crowd. A whole lot of you out there, right? So if you are a job seeker, you're looking for a remote position, sales, business development, whatever, and you're not getting called back, let me explain why. First of all, everybody's getting inundated with applications for remote positions. When we post a remote job without using Indeed, LinkedIn only, we'll get 50 to 150 a day on LinkedIn alone. If we were to put it on Indeed, we could get 500 to 1,000. Everybody wants to work remote, right? And there's no specific trade skill that is required to do sales or business development. It's like customer service and a handful of other jobs. As long as you make the effort and you have personality and theory and all that stuff, like you're qualified, at least in theory, to do sales or business development. So there's an overwhelming supply of candidates out there. You are a needle in a haystack, and the reality is, at 99% of companies, they qualify you to move you to the step where they're even going to contact you for an interview by running what we would call keyword analysis of your resume through their ATS, their applicant tracking system. So if they don't even look at your resume unless you match to a certain level on the ATS. Then they look at your resume as the primary qualifier, which we completely disagree with as in our agency, but they use your resume as the primary qualifier to even think about contacting you. And they don't want to contact any more than a handful in most cases out of the gate. So if you're not getting the interviews, that's why, just so you know, okay? So if you're stuck and you're saying, okay, well, I don't, at the end of the day, I have to find a job. How do I do it? Okay, so you want to do business development, just like you would in a business development or sales role, to find yourself a job. How do you do that? You need to do 4 things, right? You got to build a targeted list. We're going to come back to that. You need to make calls. You're going to talk to some people. You're going to leave voicemails, right? And then you might use email or LinkedIn. I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn anymore. I think it's very tired in its use. At the end of the day, I would use email, but I really wouldn't be emailing people as part of the process unless I could not get anybody on the phone. And you can get people on the phone and get calls back off voicemail if you do it correctly. So first, let's talk about targeted list. Because you might have a very wide audience to go after and you might not be very specialized, I'm going to give you a little tip. Either pick a niche. So go on to an Apollo, for example, great product for building targeted lists, right? Zoom Info, requires some expenditure there. I think on Apollo you can build most things for free, probably. We use it, but we've never used the free version, so I honestly don't know. And you can build a targeted list. If you're going to do it by industry or type of business and you're going to go narrow, that's fine. Go regional or nationwide, get enough to where you can do the outreach, build a list of 1,000 or 2,000, something like that. Otherwise, even if you want to work remote and you're going to go general, I would build a list based on types of businesses using keyword, and I would target geographically around you first. And until you get a big enough list. And the reason why is because companies really want, even if you want to work remote, they love the fact that you're local or that you're regional. Like your proximity to the company is going to have value. And even if you want to work remote and you do find a job with a company that's local and they want you to come in 1 or 2 days a week, do it, right? Because if you prove yourself, eventually they don't care if you work from home. But sometimes they do want you to come in and work from the office, right? Or headquarters or facility or whatever. So, targeting local makes sense and then go out from there. Again, depending upon how niche you are in your targeting with the type of business that you're going to reach out to. As far as when you build your list, the types of titles, once you get the companies down that you're going to reach out to, if you're going after small business, you definitely go after owners. If you're going, then you also build a subset list of, let's say, CSOs and VPs of sales, for example. Maybe VPs of marketing, but probably not. I would probably stick to VPs of sales and maybe sales director, but probably not. I would just do VPs and CSOs. And that's my target audience list. Do not target HR. Do not call HR. They don't benefit from your employment, so it's a waste of time to talk to them, right? I don't care if they're a conduit into the interview process. When you're doing cold outreach, you want to reach out to the people who you benefit, right? Whom you benefit. So whoever you make money for, that's who you want to talk to. And I don't care if it's a bigger company or not. Go to the CEO if you have to. Go to the president. Let them refer you down. We do that with email all day long on cold outreach, okay? So you build your targeted list. You need to prep yourself an email and to some degree a call script. You don't need to be scripted per se because I don't believe in scripts. I believe in bullet points and basic structure and process. But if we want to call it a script, don't ask them if they're hiring. Reach out to them and tell them what problem or need you solve, which is the same thing we do with email. We've sent 100 million emails for clients to date in the last 6 years. When you reach out to a company, we do this. Our email looks and sounds like this. Hey, curious if you could use somebody to do business development or lead generation for you or your sales team, or curious if you could use a sales rep who could do their own business development, their own lead generation. If you can, I would love the opportunity to chat. If you wouldn't mind, if I could send over my resume, for example, you have a brag sheet, whatever. If I could send over my resume, all right, and then if you're interested after you look it over, here's my calendar and we can jump on a call. And you should have a calendar, by the way. If you're a job seeker in a modern era, B2B, you've got to have a Calendly. It's free. Get a Calendly account, do the 15-minute thing, and give them your Calendly so they can schedule a call with you. It makes it so much more effective. But anyway, that's your basic outreach methodology. You get them on the phone. You say, sir, hey, my name is Kevin. Just curious if you could use a sales rep who can do their own business development, their own lead generation. If you can, I can build lists. I can do my own outreach. I'm looking for a base plus commission opportunity. Would love the opportunity to send over my resume. Guy says, sure, Kevin, send over your resume. Great. Going to say, same thing we do in business development. Great, sir, I'm sending it over, xyz.com. Hey, let me make sure you got it. And while I have you, we're waiting to see if it came through. Curious, how you guys are doing in terms of your sales team structure. What are you guys looking like these days? Dig in and gather intel. Find out, just like in business development, find out where they're at. What's their sales team look like? How big is it? How are they doing? Do they have a rotation in there that they're looking at? They got a couple that aren't cutting it. You're gonna dig in and move the needle if you do that, right? So that is all part of what you want to do in your outreach, scripting, if you will, both on voice and your email should look like that, okay? Voicemail. When you're looking for a job in sales or business development, voicemail is extremely effective. Most people say voicemail doesn't work anymore. That's because they don't do voicemail right. It's kind of like email. If you don't do email right, it doesn't work all that well. If you do it well, it's extremely effective for business development and B2B. So when you leave a voicemail, make it really simple, short. If I was leaving a voicemail, I'd say, John, hey, Kevin Downey here. Curious if you could use someone who could do sales or business development or someone who could bring inbound leads or scheduled appointments for you or your sales team. Or I'd say, could you use a rep who can use someone who can do their own business development? If you can, give me a jingle back. Here's my number. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Done. Okay. So whether you're going to talk about doing just pure lead generation for them or you want to talk about being a sales rep that can do your own lead generation, that is what they are looking for, because the biggest failing point in sales and business development for all companies in B2B when the reps fail is they don't make the calls. They don't do the business development. That's why they fail. That's why so many reps want to work remote and they want inbound leads. Right? That they crave that. They'll take a lower salary just if they can get leads because they don't want to do business development. The reality is if you want to do sales in B2B, you're going to have to do some cold outreach, right? Very rarely you're going to come into a sales job where you're not doing cold outreach, to some degree, lesser or greater, right? So that is how you would do it. And then, of course, I would use email only when you get them on the phone. That's what we teach in business development these days. We don't want to be sending emails. Email's overdone. It's too hard to get them to pay attention to email for the time that it takes to send the email and the flow in the day. We teach reps only to send emails to people that they're talking to, and they send them while they have them on the phone, just like I described, and then they're trying to move the needle on the call after they've sent them the email and they've received it, but they've got them on the phone. Occasionally, they have to send an email after a call, and they just can't keep the person on the phone, and that's fine, but otherwise, we don't send emails. We're not sending emails to people we don't talk to. Okay, so that is how I would do outreach if I was looking for a job, applying to jobs online. Unless you have a drop-dead awesome resume, it's going to be really, really hard to get people to reach back out to you or get interviews. Okay? Best of luck in job search. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.